In this video, I'll show you how to calculate the Lazy Caterer sequence. The Lazy Caterer sequence is basically a sequence of numbers where after the initial number, every next number is the difference between the two numbers starts off as being 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. So let's start coding our implementation. I'm going to set the value of the ARR variable. That's going to be an empty array. And now I'm going to calculate to declare a lazy caterer function. And that function is going to take the number, the num variable. This is basically how many items or members I want to have in this ARR variable. We could also just move it right inside of the lazy caterer function. And now to keep everything in the scope, and now I can say let result is equal to 0. And then I'm going to start a for loop where let I is equal to 0. I is less than num. I plus plus. And inside the body of the for loop, I'm going to set the result to a new value, which is result plus 1. Result plus I. And now I'm just going to do array.push the result. And finally, outside of the loop, I'm going to console log the value of ARR. Okay, and now I can test my lazy caterer sequence and pass in, for example, 11. Okay, so this doesn't work for some reason. The clock extension doesn't display. So let me go back to the browser and try it there. And let's just zoom in this browser a little bit and paste in what I've copied. Obviously, I haven't copied it correctly, so F for function. And now when I run this, I get 0, 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 21, 8, 28, etc. To get that exact example of a lazy caterer, I can change the result to start at 1. And now indeed, I'm getting this sequence. But of course, obviously, there are better ways than just trying to get a difference manually between each of these members. So let me update my code a little bit. And when I update it, you'll see that indeed we've just coded a lazy caterer sequence. So how am I going to check the results? Well, basically, I'm going to introduce another array. I'm going to name that diff array. And I'm going to set it to an empty array. And now here inside the for loop, let's just spread it out a little bit for increased legibility. So here I'm going to say console log right here, console.log array. And then I'm going to say array.length -1. So that's the last member of the array. And I'm going to subtract from it array.length -2. So 1 before the last member of the array. So what that's going to do on each loop is going to output the difference between the last two members of my array. Okay, and just in case the array is too short, I'm also going to use the OR operator and set it to 0. So if there are no members in these array length -1 and array length -2, the console log is going to default to outputting a 0. Okay, so let's see if this is going to work. And now I'm getting indeed 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. output from right here. And finally, I get a lazy caterer sequence right here. So obviously this is working, but the output is kind of well, I guess it can be improved further. So let's do that right now. So what I'm going to do is, instead of console login it right here, I'm going to do diff arr.push, and I'm going to push this same thing right here, and now console.log diff arr, and this should give me a nicer output, I guess. So now the first array is Lazy Caterer Sequence, and the second array is the difference between each of its members. So for number 1, the difference is 0 because there's not a previous member. Between 1 and 2, it's 1. So you can look at it as commas right here. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4 is between 7 and 11, 5 between 11 and 16, 6 between 16 and 22, 7 between 22 and 29, 8 between 29 and 37, 9 between 37 and 46, and 10 between 46 and 56. So our control, so to say, array, or the one that checks the output of this array, is actually correct. And that means that we have successfully coded the lazy caterer sequence in JavaScript.